seen the number it takes to keep it operating. Now, should something else come along, they're not a department in this city. We haven't set the budget for, and before budget time come back up again, we've had to give them more money. And that would be the same with EDC. Hey, we got these guys over here, we need another whatever. And as long as our pocket has it, I'm willing to give it to them.
Because under that scenario, just so you know, it would be earmarked, but not untouchable.
Yeah.
Right now, it's untouchable.
Right now, it's untouchable. If we have an emergency tomorrow and we need every dime we get, we can't get EDC money. It's frozen.
Without an
right
EDC
there.
action.
Yeah.
But does it have to be frozen?
We just have to unfreeze it. That's what this does.
But also, the EDC action, I mean, they can't spend up towards police department or something like that. I mean, so it's, there's a lot of actions EDC can't take.
Say the building with level, which for some reason the insurance or whatever.
But in turn, there's also a lot of actions if we have it in our general fund that we can't take as well. Because, I mean, going back to what EDC is supposed to be for. I mean, there's restrictions on both sides.
Yeah, did the restrictions from the past carry forward, do you know?
So the restrictions, the money that's
Accumulated in their account now, and if we
is
close
still
it out,
restricted, yes.
once it goes to the city, does it retain that restriction?
So the money now,
From
going all the way to October 1st, is still restricted. So that doesn't change anything. I mean, if they vote and they say, hey, we're going to take away
But assuming, like, let's say they got 500,000 from the last 20 years, and then we take this election. All this election would do is change the future money.
That's right. That's right.
But it's my understanding the council could take action to dissolve the past EDC.
If you dissolve the past EDC, then the money is the city's money in the general fund.
And there's no restriction.
That's right. If the EDC continues to exist, the money they have now is still restricted.
So if we leave them on board, they still keep that.
When you say they exist as an illegal entity, but if they don't exist as a legal entity and it's just a board,
It would not continue to be a board under 505 or 501.
right, it would just be a city.
If you were to create some other corporation like an LGC,
And don't confuse us.
it is confusing. This is something that, and I realize this is not Dallas, but City of Dallas intuited this. They created an LGC and called it an EDC. So.
But we're talking about just a regular, like, board.
If you it would not be a Chapter 505 board. It would not be a 4B corporation.
And at that point, the money could be spent on whatever.
It would just be general fund money.
All right, so that
the money that you would allocate to you're talking about the existing money.
The old money.
The old money.
That now gets pulled over to the general fund.
To a new board that you've newly created after the old one.
Right, at that board, it would just be a recommending
It would just
board.
be, right.
So
Recommending
they have
board,
no
general
power
fund money.
to write checks or anything, and,
That's right.
yeah. So any money designated would be an internal designation by the city.
Right.
Get colored now.
One thing, John, I'm sorry, were you done?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. One thing that might be, as was mentioned, the process of eliminating the sales, reallocating the sales tax does not, as was just discussed up here, does not itself dissolve the corporation. So I think one thing that maybe if we're trying to find some sort of middle ground, EDC does have 500,000 in there. Potentially, if it were to be reallocated, I would not have an issue letting EDC continue to be a legal entity that has basically those funds, that 500,000 restricted, while then making, as of October 1st, which is when the election results would go into effect. And then from at that point, the sales tax just goes 1.5 cents to the city. So EDC could still administer what it has and designate them specifically for economic matters, if that gives anyone kind of a better feelings that, the money's just going to immediately get consumed by the city. I'm just floating that as an option. Only thing, and then we'll open it up. So as was said, council, with all due respect to Marvin, council that does have final say on anything that gets spent. He's got the right to spend up to whatever amount without as far as things that are budgeted, but anything that's going out of that budget, he's got to come to us at some point. So council will always have that authority. Again, you know, there's nothing that the EDC does that couldn't still be done by the city, particularly if it's kept as a board. I do, one question, and again, this is not blaming, God knows I'm not blaming anybody here for bureaucracy, but the nature of bureaucracy is it does sort of organically lead to territorialism. And so my thoughts are the easiest way to get rid of that is to kind of eliminate this dual system to where there's a more clear, you know, hierarchy or whatever that kind of states what it's there for, as far as the council being the ones who have final authority over the funds.
I got one more thing, Joe.
Sorry, go ahead.
Talking about hateful stuff, and it came from other previous EDC members. The statement keeps being made, it's not your tax dollars. And that really offends me, because that's a business in our city. Our fire department has to put it out, our police department has to protect it, we have to do the roads, but yeah, that's not your tax dollars, that's not.
So someone said that to you as a councilman?
Yes, I've heard it over and over, well, I'm not gonna say who you said.
No, I'm gonna ask,
Yeah, but, I mean, it's like, we're not drawing a line in the sand, we've dug the board in there, no, this is not tax dollars, and it is.
Right, I mean, it's obviously, as Steve said, visitors pay it as well, but, you know, every time we go to CVS or River Oaks Cafe or wherever, it's a tax.
Well, it doesn't matter, it's a building in our city that we are taxpayers are taking care of.
And I like the ideas of trying to find ways to still make it work. I think the most important thing, though, is we can't continue, it was mentioned, the status quo was mentioned, and we can't leave here, whether it's whatever the vote is, whether it goes to an election or not, we can't leave here and go back to the way it's been. And I do feel strong about that. I do think that reallocating it is the cleanest way to kind of fix a broken system, and I would not like to see that opportunity pass us by, because this is not, every now and then we get in a situation where we get one pile of money or something and everybody starts to, it's like the federal money that came in after COVID, and obviously that's going to evaporate at some point. That didn't keep coming in, and in this case, not only would there be potentially the $500,000, although, like I said, I'd be open to leaving that in EDC to expend, but a $300,000 annual boost to the general fund. That, I mean, this isn't a one-time thing. This is a regular thing, and particularly as long as the city, in conjunction with that board, I'd be all for the city hiring a permanent economic development person to work it and take it off of Marvin. But the city still focusing on EDC can still grow, or on economic development can still grow the sales tax without there having to be the EDC out there. So that $300,000 can grow. No, we're never going to be where Lake Worth is, or what, you know, that we didn't get all the land dumped in our lap whenever the base closed that Westworth got. But, you know, we've got that different set of opportunities. So with that, I'm going to
ask Marvin, you're the city manager, what's your opinion?
Well, it has merits moving it to the general fund.
Can you protect it?
I have no choice. I mean,
okay.
What I bring to y'all, it seems like a statement said that I just,
You blow it.
blow it. I can't blow it. Y'all are the control of it. I mean, everything I do, I don't look to blow the money. I go through and look at every line item. If you knew the hours I spend in this budget.
We do know.
Yeah.
And I did not say you would blow it. I mean, I trust you with our money. I mean, and even an outsider said, you have a very frugal-minded city manager, and that's crucial.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate everything you have done, sorry. But I think the natural tendency is going to be, when it's there in our reach with no restrictions,